Good morning. Good morning, everybody. I'm just going to give you a second to log in while I make sure I can see your comments. Okay, yay. So happy Tuesday. You guys, Sunday is the start of the week, obviously, and it was the 8th. 8 means it represents new beginnings, and so it was 8/8, and I just really feel like this is such a time of new beginnings, like double new beginnings with interest, new beginnings with the reparations for the things that we have gone through. So this week is really special, and if you've been having a hard week, just be encouraged, because it's going to turn up to be for a reason. It's unto something. So I wanted to do this video really quickly. This video goes along with another video that is coming out on my channel in a few weeks on how to use silence with the narcissist. So sometimes you have to have a hard conversation with people, which is what today's video is about. And there's also a way to use the hard conversation to then transition into silence. So there's a part 2 essentially to this video coming out in a few weeks. This video I wanted to do for whoever you're having a hard conversation with. So this does not need to necessarily be a narcissist. And in fact, I would say these are just like the starting points for having a hard conversation. If you're going to talk to a narcissist, there's going to be a lot more that would need to go into that, and make sure that you have the necessary parameters set in place, like a third party who should be present and things like that. So first of all, when we need to have a hard conversation, let me tell you about like what normally is happening is that we're feeling very uncomfortable, but we're also like, we don't want to rock the boat, right? So we don't really want to say any kind of thing. This isn't going as well as I wish it would go, but I'm not at a place where I'm so uncomfortable that I'm ready to say something. And so this generally tends to build up, and that issue or those problems tend to compound upon one another. And so I want to talk to you about what to do with that before you speak to somebody, because most of having the hard conversation isn't about facing another person. It's about being honest with yourself. So a lot of times the reason that we let this kind of build up is because we're not willing to sit with ourselves first and say, the reason that I don't like that is because this, and this. It's bringing up issues that I'm thinking about, old memories from my past, from my childhood, from my past relationship, whatever. There's a reason why you don't want to think about the overall issue that's going on. And so again, sitting down and being quiet with yourself is the first starting point, because if you don't know why this person, this thing, this situation, the words that were said, whatever has upset you, and that you need to have a hard conversation with this person, if you don't know, you can't have the hard conversation if you don't know why you need to have the hard conversation. So identifying it within yourself is first and foremost. And along with that, let's say you're discussing there's an issue with a friend or a person that you're seeing, or whatever, your spouse or whatever. Let's say you don't communicate with me enough. Let's say like that's your complaint. What is the quantity of enough for you? See, this is why you have to sit with yourself first to think about that. If I heard from you 3 or 4 times throughout the day, then that would be enough. What is actually enough? Because if a lot of times you're identifying something in yourself, like your love language or a need in that season or whatever, that isn't being met. But you need to know what would be enough, right? Like, this is true for anything in life. If it's like, I'm not getting enough calories. Okay, how many are you actually getting now? And what is the quantity that you need to get. So you need to sit with yourself and actually identify, okay, if I could come up with a solution to this problem, it would be this. And that would be satisfactory to me, right? But if you're just going to, if you allow all of these situations or circumstances, words that are said or whatever, pile up, then what happens is that when you go to have a hard conversation, what you actually have is just like a blaming fest. I'm going to blame you for this and this and this. And there was this one time when you should have done this, but you didn't. You did this, and I was expecting you to do that, but you didn't. You did this. And it's like all of these grievances that just pile up. When we can actually identify what the problem is with ourselves and what an ideal solution is with ourselves first, before communicating this with another person, it will help the conversation go a lot better. This is not also where we need to stop, right? A lot of people are like, yep, got it, logging off, I'm going to go have my hard conversation. Don't do it. The other part is that you need to come to terms with, this is we're having a conversation. We're not having a dialogue. I'm not giving you a monologue. I'm not just here to be like, meet my demands or else. This is going to be a conversation. And so you need to be prepared for why haven't you had this hard conversation before? Chances are it's because you're afraid of for some reason or another, of the outcome of having that hard conversation. You think that person's going to leave you, you're not going to be friends anymore, this person is going to resent you, whatever. You need to process through all of those feelings and not have a conversation, if at all possible, because sometimes there's emergencies and things like that, but if at all possible, until you're at a place of peace with the outcome. Okay, you need to understand, I understand that this is my perspective, but could there be another perspective? Is there a possibility that there's something that you're not seeing in this moment? So if you don't go into the conversation with the intent to listen to the other person, then it's usually best if you just write a letter and you ask them if we can meet and talk about it at another time. If you're not willing to have a conversation because you don't think that there's any other possible way that it could be another point of view, by the way, I'm talking about normal people, right? This is why I said, like, for narcissists, you need to have other measures in place. If you want to have a hard conversation with a narcissist where you feel like you want to explain yourself, I've had clients before who've said, I know that I need to do this, and this is the only way that I'm going to be able to move on or have peace. Okay, that's fine. I understand. Even though when they went through these steps that I'm telling you right now, which is being okay with whatever the outcome is, they knew that nothing would change. Nothing would change the narcissist or change the narcissist behavior. They knew that, but they still felt like they needed to communicate their standpoint or their point of view. So again, this is just like in general how to have a hard conversation. Do this internal work first, because when you come to having a conversation, when it comes time to actually sit down and tell the person how you feel, number one, you're going to be able to actually truly know, this is how I feel. It's not because I didn't eat that day or I got stuck in traffic and so I was already upset or angry or whatever. You're going to be able to tell them, no, I've actually thought about it. These are the things that are happening. These are the way that these things are making me feel. This is the way that I want to move forward from it. Is there, what do you think about this? Is there a way for us to move forward? Is there a way that we can reconcile these differences? And one of the ways that I can tell a person who's truly teachable, somebody who's really humble, is the person who can listen to the rebuttal, listen to the other side of the other person's point of view, and think to themselves and say, instead of saying, that's not true, this is what happened. Instead, can you explain that to me? I want to know more about that. I didn't realize that was going on. Can you tell me a little bit more about this situation? When you approach the situation as an opportunity to learn and to grow, as opposed to just be right and win an argument and haha, I was, I was proven right and I did all of the things right. Is the relationship worth risking? Would you rather be right, or would you rather have a relationship? And again, there's no right or wrong answer. It's different for every person. It's different for every circumstance. But the ability to process through, what is my ultimate end goal? If my ultimate end goal is to have a relationship with this person and have my needs met, then that will require me giving as well as taking, right? I can't just be the taker. I can't just be demanding that people meet my needs and my expectations without being willing to see that there could be another point of view and that I also have behaviors that I need to change. So that's really it. A lot of people avoid having hard conversations because they aren't willing to sit down and do the internal work first and actually be honest with themselves. This is what's going on. This is what would make me more satisfied in this relationship or feel more valued or whatever. They can't do that. They don't do that first, right? And so then they just go in accusing the other person of a bunch of things that maybe the other person is even unaware that that's happening, because you've been showing no signs that there's any problems in the relationship. And so all of a sudden, to have this whole list of things come out in a non-productive way where it's just like, here's a bunch of problems. Now what are you going to do about it? The appropriate way to work through problems in relationships is to do it this way first, because then you can say, these are the problems, and here's how I think we could resolve them. Here's a way for us to move forward, if that's actually what you want. And if it isn't, then you can end the conversation just by saying, and so for that reason, I think it's best that we go our separate ways. I honor the time that we've spent together, but it's time for us our paths need to split now. So I hope this all makes sense. Again, I have a video that's going to tie this in to dealing with narcissists specifically, coming out in a few weeks. But I wanted to do this video first because this is stuff that you can use right now with other people besides a narcissist in your life. So let me just go over some comments really quick. Kimberly, I'm sorry to hear that. I think that your comment got cut off. So again, when you are approaching the narcissist, you truly do need to, step 3, where I mentioned that you need to understand that there's another person involved here, and that person has free will. They get to make choices and decisions about how to move forward, just as you do. With a narcissist, you need to understand that you're not going to change them. And that's true of all people. You don't get to control whether or not they change their behavior, their words, or whatever towards you. But you can give them the option, right? You can give them the choice. Hey, this is the problem. This is how I think we can solve it. What would you like to do about that? It's still their decision. But with a narcissist, you need to know that exposing yourself in ways that you will be going into a situation where you will be exposing your weaknesses to somebody who intends to use them against you. And so that's just something that I think that everybody needs to be aware of when it comes to dealing with a narcissist and having the hard conversation, which is why I said in the very beginning to make sure that you have safeguards in place. I understand, even if you feel like this is what you need to do, okay, I support you. Have the safeguards in place still. Do not meet with the narcissist by yourself. Have a third party present. Go through the necessary communication methods with a narcissist. Don't just decide, today's the day we're having a hard conversation and I don't care who's around or what happens. You have to use wisdom still in these situations. I'm sorry, I'm going to read the rest of my comments here. Honesty is the best policy. Okay. So you guys, I think that's it for today. You guys, I'm so sorry about the interview yesterday that was scheduled. We had to reschedule. We did reschedule. Sarah will be posting about it. I think it's the 26th of this month. So Wendy will be on the channel on the 26th, and I'm on her channel next week or the week after. I don't know. We will have graphics out for that, so that we did reschedule. I'm so sorry about that. Technical issues that came up that we couldn't do the interview, but we did reschedule, and I'm super excited to have her on. If you guys actually haven't already, if you don't know about her, I encourage you to just go click on her website. She is known for her Command the Courtroom series, where she teaches people, especially those who want to represent themselves pro se in cases with a narcissist, child custody cases and things like that, family court situations. You need to go check out her website. She's got a bunch of courses. She's an attorney who specializes in helping people overcome the narcissist tactics inside the courtroom. So please go check out her website even before we do the interview. And like I said, I'll be on her channel next week or the week after. And we will have graphics for all of the stuff that got rescheduled, you guys. Again, it's so sorry. I truly apologize. I think you'll enjoy this Friday's video, so stay tuned for that. And I'll see you live next week.